Right, ladies and gentlemen, now welcome back to the second part of the show this morning. As you can see, it's quite a chilly weather, cold on the outside, but we are here ready to set you and of course give you what we want to discuss this morning. It's all about matters to do with the education sector, and today we want to discuss on the reintroduction of corporal punishment in school. Now, before I even bring on board my guest, who is Mr. David Marende with me here in studio, let me remind you that the CS, that is George Magoha, had hinted on a reintroduction of corporal punishment in our schools, something at which it sparked a lot of conversation and a lot of debate within the education sector, looking at how different parents, teachers, pupils themselves have had a different opinion concerning that matter as well. And that's why we want to find time and we need to analyze on this. Is it the right time to reintroduce corporal punishment in our school? That is the main question that we are asking you this morning. And we'd like to hear from you as well. What do you think about our topic of discussion this morning? Where exactly are you watching us from? Do you feel that it's high time for us to introduce caning within our schools? What does it mean? Can caning bring up and bring back the necessary and the amount of discipline that we want? That is also another matter that we will discuss here together with my guest. But remember, as also, you do have three options at your disposal. Number one, you can choose to use, the number below your screen, share your comments, share your feedback on the number below your screen, share that as well on our social media platforms, and we are up and running on our social media platform. I do believe we are on live on Facebook and on our website link. For those of you who are on diaspora, Dubai and beyond, you can check us on our website link. That is www.bosstv.co.ke, and we will be so glad to sample your views, and we will be so happy and more happy to hear from you. Right now though, allow me to bring Mr. David Marende, who is already in studio with me. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Very well. If somebody is watching you for the very first time, I know it's not your first time here on the show, but the fact that you're a teacher, you know, teachers are well known in the society. Who exactly is Mr. Marende?
Mr. Marende is a teacher, a profession. I've been teaching field for quite some time now. I'm about to go for my retirement, and I'm a professional in teaching. Apart from that, I do what we call guiding and counseling, especially in terms of career and something like that.
Right, very true. So you're better placed to discuss matters about education.
That is what we are here for, to discuss the issue of education. And I find like currently the dynamics in education, they're too much. Because there is reintroduction of CBC, there is a 100% transition, and there is also this issue of reintroduction of corporal punishment.
Right.
And this one was said by CS Professor Magoha, and together with CS Matiang'i, because Matiang'i said that we cannot build schools and let students start banning them.
Right.
But let's check what is the cause of all this.
I was coming there. And looking at the way things are now in our schools, and somebody will be keen to note and is keen to ask, you know, what is wrong with our schools? Why are people banning schools?
Before we come to banning schools, I would like to talk about parenting, because that is the source where the child is going to grow and be whatever is going to be in the future.
You mean this starts at parenting?
This starts at parenting, and especially the age of 5 and above. There's too much softness, okay? Daddy, mommy, you see? So a child is not given the sense of responsibility. A child cannot take a glass from the table and take it
To the kitchen.
to the kitchen. A child will break the glass and daddy usirudia tena. You see that? So that kind of parenting that parents are offering their children right now, they lack the sense of responsibility.
Wait a minute, Mwalimu. Do you want to tell me like you do not want parents to kind of be so soft to their kids or what?
It's not issue of parent being soft to the kids, but the discipline starts at home. Discipline starts at home. So if this child has not been given the sense of responsibility that you have to respect people's property, okay, starting from your father's property, because that glass, that cup belongs to your father, it's not yours. So you must learn to respect people's property. Then from there, you'll grow up with that sense of responsibility.
Right.
Yes. So that's where the problem is. The other issue, we find that it is what we call the 100% transition.
Right.
And when they say 100% transition, they were talking 100% transition from primary to secondary. And they insisted that it has to be the public schools. Now, if you take, for instance, here in Changamwe, how many public secondary schools do we have? 5.
Right.
We have 5. If you talk about public primary school we have here, there are about 8. That is in Changamwe sub-county alone. So these 8, they're supposed to feed on these 5 schools, for instance. Okay? Then we have also private schools here, primary schools, who are supposed also to feed in this second school. So having that kind of congestion in schools is also causing stress to the students and stress to the teachers too.
Right.
For instance, you go to a school that after results, it had a capacity of 1,200. Then the school is added another 600, now having a capacity over 1,800, overstretching. They have not built enough dormitories, they don't have enough ambulation blocks, they don't have enough bathrooms, and even the classrooms. So we'll find that this kind of congestion here is going to cause stress, and students will say the only way we can go home is to cause a damage.
If I may take you back a little bit during your time of schooling, and right now, of course the dynamics have changed, but I think whatever peoples are enjoying currently, you guys didn't enjoy the kind of lifestyles within our schools during your time of schooling. Do you feel like our students who are continuing learning right now, they want some form of unrealistic things within our schools? For instance, now you're mentioning about the congestion trying to cause stress within them. Is that the case that people themselves want things that they are not, they are unrealistic to be met in schools?
I think during our time, joining school, secondary school was a big privilege. And when you're going to school, the whole village will know you're going to school. And
that is high school?
That's high school. Because it was only in the high school where you're going to put on trousers. And in fact, trousers were for Form 5 and Form 6. Form 1 to Form 4, we were putting on shorts, plus socks reaching here. So during our time, actually, we never enjoyed so much facilities that people are enjoying nowadays.
I can imagine. You have your socks.
Socks tied here, black shoes. And actually, we had sense of responsibility because one thing, your father is going to sell a cow to take you to school. And they tell you, see, I've sold this cow, but let me expect that I'm taking another cow to school. So I should not sell a cow to take another cow to school. So this cow, so you go there knowing actually there's much being spent for my education, for my future. But look right now what's happened to the students now. Okay, for instance, a child misbehaves in school. A child is performing badly in school. You would like to know what's the problem with this child. So the only thing, you call the parent and the child. You start discussing about this issue. And the parents will tell you, my child always watch TV. Okay? So Mwalimu, what will I do? So may I ask, if you are saying to the child at home, then you allow a child to watch TV all throughout. Then you want Mwalimu to help you. How am I going to help you then?
Right.
I'm going back to parental. You see that? You find that a child is misbehaving, but a parent will tell you, no, my child is not like that at home. So you cannot tell me that your child has got two colors, that this is the way he behaves at home, or this way he behaves at school.
Right.
The difference is that in school, we have got our norms, okay? Do's and don'ts. But at home, they may not be having those do's and don'ts.
Right.
For example, if you come in and you're not tucking your shirt, and I keep reminding you about tucking your shirt all the time. You see that? But at home, it's normal. So we have problem with the parents, especially these parents who got married in the year 2000 and beyond.
Right.
They're the one who are giving us these products, whereby they have allowed their children to access social media, you see, without parent control.
Right.
Because you find that, or even the TV, that channels you there, and you say PG, parental guidance. But now these parents, they don't know that. The TV just on,
And they have no time to
and
guide.
have no time to guide the children about that.
Right.
So when the child comes outside here, he's just a different person. And there's a problem, or there's a risk of introducing corporal punishment.
Right. I've heard you mention something very key here, that we find maybe to some extent a student may have two characters, one character at home and another character at school. And we've had seen different cases and incidents of such kind of a behavior happening, and it leaves us working, looking at, how comes does the parent does not understand how my kid behaves at school. For instance, he does something bad at school, and once he is reported at home, the mother or father says, he has never done such kind of a behavior here at home. I wonder where exactly has that behavior come from. And the parents also, whom we had a chance to speak with, they say that most of the time their children and the pupils spend more time at school. So it's upon the teachers to look into how they're supposed to make the learners get up and grow up in a good way with discipline, But you teachers are pushing and blaming parents for that.
Actually, the truth is that we spend so much time with pupils than the parents. And we have our norms, the school regulations and rules. And I do expect also at home we should have these do's and don'ts. So if the parents, they're hardly at home with their children, the parents are always out. The child is left alone, maybe with the house helps or maid servants.
Right.
Then the parent may not be able to know his child very well. There's no single day, maybe a parent, even those who are watching me, that one day you have sat down with your child and you have reviewed about his life, and now this is December now, this is the year that is going to pass. What was your achievement in your school? Okay? And what do you expect in the future? You see that time parents are not having with their children. So the homes are no longer homes. Homes have become houses. Parents are hardly in the house, or they hardly speak to their children about it. So that's where the problem is.
That's where the problem
That's where the problem is.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me, like you guys in school, like teachers and the school administration are working to make sure that they at least play their role effectively in bringing discipline within schools? And is it true that parents are the ones who are letting you down?
Actually, I'm not saying that all parents are letting us down. Not all. But there are some who go to the extent of neglecting the child.
Right.
They don't know whether the child is, what time the child comes home. Like I had a case in our school where the parent came and complained that the child normally comes home after 9 o'clock. Is that a responsibility of a teacher? Okay, I was at day school. It's not a responsibility of a teacher. It's the responsibility of the parent to tell the child, this is my house.
Right.
By the time you come from school, change, do something, go back to books. But you just let the child move around, then they come and complain how the child is performing badly, quickly. He comes home, he puts the books there and goes out. He comes home at 9 o'clock. Whose house? My father's house. You cannot do that. Because our parents were very strict. And in fact, we were being caned. Corporal punishment was there at home.
Right.
And corporal punishment was at school. But now, introduce corporal punishment at school and at home it's not there.
It won't help.
Yes. You are going to meet radicals now here. You're killing a child who has never been caned.
Okay. Do you want to tell me, Mwalimu, the person at which squashed off corporal punishment in schools did a mistake?
I'm sure they did a mistake on the first time. The introduction
And they are now regretting.
The introduction it now is going to become the bigger mistake.
Okay.
Yes. The introduction will become a bigger mistake because these are children who have never been caned. You can a child become hysterical, screaming all through.
Right. We'll be coming back to the corporal punishment there and having to hear about you saying their introduction will be even make it more worse than before. If we are to try and help out this issue about parenting and the fact that you're a teacher and as well as a parent at the same time. How do you think we should go about it?
I think what we should go about it, we should have that close link between a parent, a child, and a teacher.
Do you want to tell me now it's not there?
Sometimes you call the parent, tell you I'm busy. You call the parents to come to school because hard. A parent has never made an initiative to go to school and see how is my child performing in school. Get that? You don't have need to be called that you come to school. You need to go there and see how is my parent performing. We had academic clinics, but most parents are not coming. They send their younger brothers or their elder brothers or sisters. Go and see what your brother is doing in school. You see that?
Is that wrong?
Yeah, that's what happened now. So the parent himself does not even have a time a child for his time. I tell them, okay, this is an investment. You're investing in a child. This is a 4 years investment, okay? You are paying so much money. Don't you follow up? We are the managers, okay? Managing your investment, but don't you make a follow-up? You don't have need to be called. Oh, come to school because of ABCD. And if you're called, you send somebody else. You send the uncle. Somebody who does not even have that responsibility, okay? He doesn't feel it. You perform well, you don't perform well, no. And all the only paying school fees for you. So the negligence the parents are causing, this is what is causing more problem with schools.
Right. On that note, Mwalimu, I want to take a short break here. When I come back, I'll be asking you about this introduction of the corporal punishment. The CSs, two of them, the Interior and the Education CS, have hinted that they need to introduce back corporal punishment in school. Where have they been all this while until now? It's when they're coming to the real reality that it's high time we should introduce this corporal punishment. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we are speaking to Mr. Marende here in studio concerning matters about education. In particular, we are asking, is it time that we should reintroduce corporal punishment in our schools to tame the increased number of indiscipline cases in our schools as well? Even though schools have been closed, the issue of parenting also comes in, and you've heard from him that parents are letting us down in terms of bringing up their kids at home, and that is what he is speaking here in studio. But we want to take another short break here. When we come back, we'll have a discussion about that as well and many more. Kindly stay put with us. Keep your comments coming and be looking at your feedback as they come along. Like I mentioned earlier, you can use the number below your screen to either text us on normal messaging, or you can move to our WhatsApp number. That is the same number. You can get us on WhatsApp, and also move to all our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are live. You can go to the comment section and you can do the honorable thing of sharing your comment. Time for me to take a short break. I'll be coming back with much more. Right, ladies and gentlemen, now welcome back to the second part of our morning discussion. Just in case you're joining us, remember we are still here with Mr. David Marende to discuss all matters that to do with the education sector, in particular handling the corporal punishment reintroduction. It's quite a matter that the Ministry of Education together with the Ministry of Interior have tried so hard to bring it back, even though it has not been officially communicated. But we will be looking into some of the prospects and what we can anticipate into the reintroduction of this corporal punishment, and who else is better placed to have this discussion than Mr. David Marende, who is in studio with me here. We'll be talking much including that as well. And remember also, we'd like to hear from you. What do you feel? Is it high time that we should reintroduce corporal punishment in schools? Talk to us. The number is below your screen. Share your thoughts as well on all our social media platforms, and we will be so glad to sample the views as we get along with the show this morning. And also you can check us live on Facebook, and I do believe you can as well as share and comment on the comment section, and we will be so glad to sample your views as we get along with the program. Mwalimu,
Yes, sir.
welcome back to the second part. And to begin with where we had left, the minister says, and he has hinted that it's high time that we should reintroduce corporal punishment.
It's true.
Is it timely?
I think reintroduction of corporal punishment, it has to go systematically.
What do you mean?
I mean that you cannot reintroduce corporal punishment to the whole level of education.
Right.
That's why I say that the problem is going to be there. Unless we are going to train teachers in taekwondo and karate to counter these boys and girls here.
Okay.
So what I suggest that if actually the CS, the both CS are thinking of introduction of this corporal punishment, then should start at the lower level. Okay?
Right.
Should start at lower level, going systematically up. Until now, you find that
The problem is with the big boys.
the problem with the big boys, but this one you cannot cane them. You see? They will retaliate with you. They'll hit back the teachers. Yes. So that's where the problem is. And what I'm saying actually, it's too late to start introducing corporal punishment to high schools.
Right.
Or especially to the high schools. It's not possible.
Okay.
It's too late. So what I should suggest that if actually you want to introduce corporal punishment, do it the same way you are doing with CBC. Start on the ground, move with it, discipline this one now here. The rest, let's sit down with the parents, let's sit down with the students, and let's discuss these issues.
Right.
Let's give them their responsibility. What are repercussions? Because everything that one does, okay? Everything that one does, it has repercussions. Either positive or negative.
Right.
So let this child, let this student know that whatever I'm doing, there will be repercussion for it. You remember that this guy who banned school about 5 years ago. She had to go to jail. Okay?
The Moi girls.
The Moi girls are Nairobi. You see that? So repercussions are there. No matter how long you'll be outside there,
Morning.
the law will still follow you up.
This proposal to have the corporal punishment being introduced in school came about trying to address the issue of the rising cases of arson attacks in our schools. And it came about also, they're trying to relook at a way to find a solution here. And now you're telling me here that they should begin from below. Don't you think the banning will not stop?
The banning will not stop because the banning is not the issue of the student arrest. I'm telling you. Okay? I'll give you a simple example. Tana River, okay?
Right.
It has got many tributaries putting water into it. But what happens when it reaches Tana Delta? Floods.
Okay.
Yeah? So the same thing
That's geography.
That's geography.
Okay.
Okay? The same thing is going to happen to our students. If we congest them in one place, okay? We congest them in one place, then there's going to become a repercussion for that.
Right.
Yes, there's going to become an explosion. So what they should do, let the parents take a child wherever he wants to take a child. This issue of one choice, one school should be abolished. Number two, reduce the pressure of the students in a high school. Let also private schools have a share of these children and take what? And reduce the pressure in high schools.
Right.
Because you cannot tell me that now a double decker taking 4 children, you're sleeping with somebody who don't know. As children when I go to school, they're sharing beds.
Okay.
You go to the bathroom in the morning, there's conjunction. Why are they not burning classes? Why are they burning dormitories? There's a lot of congestion there. And this is what's causing pressure. So the only thing what CS can do, plus the stakeholders in education,
right.
Let's try to see how they can reduce this pressure from secondary schools, especially boarding schools.
Right. Listening to you carefully, Mwalimu, here, it brings to me, and it's to my attention that to some extent, our education system and the education sector has a bigger problem that needs sober minds for it to be resolved here.
Actually, we have a bigger challenge with the education sector. And the implementation of the educational policy is kind of mixed up. Because we are talking of something that has to happen in the next 2 years, and we have not prepared for that.
Right.
So 2 months to that now, we want to implement. When we know very well that we don't have the capacity, we don't have the resources.
Okay.
Now, for instance, we are opening school on 4th of January. We are closing on 11th. That will be the end of what? That will be the end of the 3rd term.
Right.
We open on April first term comes in. The class 5, they go to class 6. The class 7 goes to class 8. Next year. So, now, this class 5, who are going to class 6, they're going to sit for their final exams in primary, CBC. They're supposed to join secondary school.
Junior secondary.
Junior secondary.
Right.
Where that's junior secondary. Are we going to squeeze them to St. Charles? Okay? The same thing, the class 8, now they're going to come in. So we're going to have double intake, 2 syllabuses taking place at the same time.
Which is quite a pressure.
Now, the issue is that now, do we have the resources?
Do you think the government does not factor in that?
They are professionals, they know this issue.
Right?
But I think sometimes it's negligence. Because if you look at what's happening in our schools right now, you find that the children who are suspected to be arsonists, they don't come from that region. It's very hard for a child from Changamwe to go and violate Changamwe High School, while he knows very well this is our school, it has been with our father, okay? And my child will probably go there. But if you take a child from Bondo and bring him here, and this is a problem here, he doesn't know. Yeah. So let a parent take a child wherever a parent feels that this is the right place for my child to be. But not just to force a parent, take your child in such and such a school. Corporal punishment is going to solve, not going to solve. I've suggested these 2 issues. 1, reduce pressure from school. 2, I'm talking about population pressure. So, population pressure from school, that's 1. 2, let's have counseling taking place.
Right. I think you need to switch off your phone. And remember, that is what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, in relation to the education sector. And Mwalimu, as you can hear him, he says here that reintroducing and the introduction of the corporal punishment may not in any kind of way help out here in solving some of these problems that have been faced within our schools, talking about the burning of schools and the indiscipline cases that we've quite had to, faced in the recent number of days. And that is what is also we are tackling here. And the biggest question that we are asking you this morning, are you in agreement that it's high time to reintroduce corporal punishment in our schools? And remember, this was hinted by the CS himself for Education, Professor George Magoha, when he was accompanied by the Interior Cabinet Secretary, that is Mr. Fred Matiang'i as well, looking into how they're saying they will not sit down and watch pupils destroy their school. They will not sit down and watch some kind of way that is kind of hooliganism within our schools, if I may use that word. And that's why they came on board and stated that it's high time we should reintroduce corporal punishment in our schools. Send your feedback. I'll be sampling your views as we get along with the show. Mwalimu.
Yes.
Here, parents have divergent views concerning the introduction of corporal punishment. And listening to other parents, they say this may help, considering that, yes, spare the rod, spoil the child, basing on the phrase from the Bible. Others are saying, no, it's high time we should sit down with these kids and understand them and learn to also give them an ear and listen to them. Why do parents have different views here? Why are they not reading from the same script?
Saying that spare the rod and spoil the child. But we're not talking about children here. We're talking about young adults. Those that are samaki mkunya ngali mbichi. This one has already come up. You cannot try to bury him. Is okay? So, parents...
So that phrase is not applicable here?
It's not applicable here. A child, you're talking about, this is what I told you. Let's go back to CBC and introduce a cane there. Okay? You're going to spare them. But now introducing a cane in Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, we are going to have major resistance.
Right.
And the repercussion may be worse than whatever we are receiving right now of us in schools. I'm telling you that.
Right.
The repercussion will be worse. Because these are the people who feel that we can do whatever we want to do. They have been brought up in a way that they can do whatever they want to do at any time. So when you try to control them, they resist. When you bring in the cane, they revolt.
Right.
You see that? So that is the fear I'm seeing that is going to happen if we introduce the corporal punishment, then the revolt or the repercussion may be worse than what we're experiencing right now.
Right. Within the framework of our schools and the way our schools have been administered, we have the board of management, the board of directors. We also have parents who are involved in matters about administration within our schools. Do you think they are doing up their roles as what they're expected to do in terms of making sure that these things have been discussed from that kind of level?
I think for the school board of management, the administration, and the parents association, it's working.
Is there any results of their work in terms of discipline?
In terms of discipline, but now it becomes very hard when you have parents, teachers association, and the parents are in Mombasa and the students are in Makueni. You get that?
Right.
So that one can only work in that community. That is there. But now when we send our children far away to our schools now here, then they become, first of all, they become frustrated. They are new to that place. They don't have enough food. They don't sleep very well.
Right.
They are revolt. But if you look at the schools that we have parents from the same community, okay, children are going to the same community. What we are seeing in Changamwe, what we are seeing in Mejabu, we are seeing in Bom, we are seeing Changamwe, St. Charles Lwanga. You see that? There is that closeness of the parents and the teacher.
Right.
You see that? Because we come from the same community. But it becomes very difficult when you have the parents association and some of these children parents are far away. They cannot come. They brought them there during opening, then that's the end of it.
Right.
Yeah.
True. So you in a nutshell, you're saying this whole idea of delocalizing students, like send them to a certain school, governments placing them in different schools, you are not in agreement with that?
I'm not in agreement with that. Let the parents decide where am I going to take my child.
And the issue about having to quash off boarding schools as well?
Boarding schools quashing it off, we're talking about impossibilities. We're talking about impossibilities. Because if you quash up boarding schools, I'm talking like Mango, talking about Mary Hill, I'm talking about Kenya High, I'm talking about Alliance Boys and Alliance Girls. You see that? Who are going to accommodate those day schools? People from Kikuyu there, are they going to feed? Both St. Charles, both Alliance? It's not possible. So boarding school, that will be there. The only thing that we have to have proper management of the boarding school. Let the head of the school know the capacity of the children that he can take. Not impose students on him. You get that?
Right.
Yes. Let him know that this is the capacity I can handle and this is what I can take. But when he impose students on him, even he becomes tired.
And do you feel if that scenario happens, don't you think the government would have failed in some of its promises within the education? Like, for instance, the 100% transition, making sure also even every school and every student gets a place in a school.
100% transition is okay. But does the government have facilities for that? Then, if it doesn't have facility, then why does he want to take it on? Why not allow other students to go to other institutions? They can still sponsor those children from wherever they are. Supposing you take 20 students and you take them to a private school, then the capitation is sent to that school. Then you give regulation to the private school. You should not charge more than this much because you have given this much. They have reduced special schools.
Right.
You see that? But the moment you say that 100% transition and you have fewer schools, like I told you earlier, you come to Changamwe here, we have 5 secondary schools, public. Look at the primary schools that are supposed to feed them. Expulsion is going to happen. So let the government tighten or lose the rope a little bit. Let them allow, first of all, the child to be taken to the school of his choice.
His or her choice.
His or her choice.
Right.
The second thing, let the parent decide where am I going to take my child. 2, let the child go to secondary school, but it should not be a must they go to a public school.
True. Right. I want to take another short break here, and when we come back, we'll be summarizing on that aspect on corporal punishment and going forward. Do you think it's going to be realistic going forward? You know, it's just something that the CS had hinted earlier, but it does not materialize. Do you feel like it will materialize? And whether if it is will brought for a debate, will people vote in for it to be reintroduced or not? And many more, including also the issue about schools having been closed. Is the 1 week enough for the peoples to, kind of rest before they even get to the third term next year, that is on the 4th January? We'll be coming back to look at that, ladies and gentlemen, in relation to what is happening in the education sector. Remember, Tuesdays is all about the education sector, and I'm speaking to Mr. David Marende. He's with me here in studio, tackling all the topics and subtopics within the education sector. We'll be coming back to discuss more on that. Stay tuned. Don't go too far, kindly. Right, welcome back now to the last part of the show. Definitely don't miss this, because this is the tail end of the program this morning. And if you missed the first and the second part, we'll have it posted on our YouTube channel as well as on our Facebook page. That is where you can go and find us as well. And we'll be so glad to hear from you as well. If you can check it at your own convenient time. But we're still tackling matters about the education here, and we want to sum up on this topic. To cane or not to cane is the question, and of course Mwalimu says it's not time to reintroduce it. We should start from the bottom, and it sounds to me like bottom up, something to do with that. Last but not least, Mwalimu, do you see a situation where the minister can come out and announce, like, it's now official, let's start caning people? Can we get to that kind of place?
Professor Magoha, sometimes he bulldoze things, okay? He make decision very fast. And he might, there's a possibility that he may introduce this issue of caning or corporal punishment in school. That's what I'm saying, there's a higher possibility that he may introduce it.
Right.
Yeah.
And how will it be received?
That's why I'm telling you that the repercussion won't be very comfortable. Won't be very comfortable. Because even some of the teachers are not ready to do that. I being one.
What do you mean?
I cannot cane a child. Because caning a child is not going to instill the discipline in him. What I have to do is to sit with this child down and tell you that this is what you've done here is a mistake.
But don't you think, Mwalimu, that sitting down is not working here?
Sitting down is not working because of congestion. How do I sit down with 100 children in my class? Okay? That's a problem now. So I must be given enough capacity of the students that I can be able to handle them.
Right.
Yeah. So the other issue we're having is the human resource now. Let's have professionals talking to these children. Okay? We can have professionals talking to them, motivational talks, counseling and guidance. This is going to help. Right. Let these students know, actually, whatever we are doing is not very good. Okay? If I do this, these are the results, or these are going to become the repercussion.
Right.
But a child does something without knowing what will be the repercussions. And that's it. You find that the reintroduction of caning to school, I don't think is going to solve the problem.
At all.
Start with these small ones down here, then grow with them. But
True.
introducing them in high school here, the repercussion will be severe.
True. Right. And now, you're in a 1 week break. Of course, there is a number of schools that have already closed, and the others are supposed to be closing on the 23rd is the official date.
That's the official date.
And the 1 week that is ahead here, do you feel it's enough for a rest?
Actually, we are closing for 1 week. And don't forget that we are closing during festive season, where we are going to have so many activities taking place. Closing on 23rd, that will be on Thursday. Then on Christmas Day on Saturday or Sunday. That one won't give a child enough time to rest. Because they are human beings, okay? They respond to the stimuli. They respond to the activities in the environment. So there will be a lot of activities,
Right.
okay, during festive season. So if by the time they finish the celebration of Happy New Year, then they come to school, they're tired.
Right.
Yeah, they're tired. So I think the time is short. They could have said this festive season, at least we give them 2 weeks. 17 was a good day for schools to close. Yeah, 17 to close on
To close on
17. 17, give them 2 weeks. But 1 week, and this is a festive season here, still the pressure still on the child. Yeah. And not even the child, even the parents.
Well, the parents themselves.
Yeah.
Will that have any sort of a repercussion once the schools open?
The repercussion mostly is going to hit parents mostly. You know, people tend to spend so much on Christmas. Okay? And after Christmas, the child's supposed to go back to school. There's the issue of the school fees, there's the issue of transport. Actually, it's going to cause a lot of strain on parents.
Right.
Yeah, because parents don't have enough time to prepare themselves to take back the children to school. And actually, Mr. Shadrock, this is where we have this kind of problem coming in. Because parents don't have money.
Right.
And they are giving the children very little pocket money. And the child goes to school, their pocket money got finished. You see that? So the child also started having what you call what? Mental strain.
Right.
Yeah. Others have money, him doesn't have money, then what's the solution? We all go home.
Right. True. Last but not least, what can we look forward to in the next term? How crucial is it?
Next term is very crucial because it's going to become a short term. It's going to become a term of 9 weeks. 9 weeks we are supposed to have completed our syllabus for the year because that is going to become the end.
Is it possible to complete the syllabus in 9 weeks?
Yeah, with a lot of stress. We need extra hours, okay? Apart from having extra day, we need extra hours so that we can be able to accomplish the syllabus in time.
Okay.
Not forgetting that this day, here also, the term we are preparing our candidates to sit for their final exams, which is actually they need a lot of concentration.
So far, how ready are they?
So far, my students are ready. My students are ready because comparing to the exams that we gave them last time, which was a pure KCSE paper, the performance wasn't that bad.
Right.
Yeah, performance wasn't that bad. And if they can keep that to the final results, exams, then I'm seeing them, at least 5 or 6 of them joining university.
Very true.
Yep.
Right. Aren't you to take a minute here and speak to both the parents, students, and your fellow teachers, also the government, in line with making sure that we streamline the operations within the education sector and we try to bring sanity and, of course, things to come back normal? What can you say about that?
First, I'll start to my fellow teachers. What I'll say, don't give up. This is a responsibility you've been given. You're not only a teacher, but also do parenting. So I'll urge you to continue working hard to ensure that the future of this child becomes better. Because the future of this student depends so much from a parent, a teacher, than a parent. To you parents who are watching me, I will ask you, please make sure you know where your child is at every moment of the day, especially the girl child. Let us know where these children are. And 2, try to talk to them. Let them have that sense of responsibility. Let them respect people's property, starting from the properties in their house. And to the students, especially those who are candidates, you've got no time. The time is very short. Christmas is Jesus Christ's birthday. It's not your birthday. So you forget about that, concentrate on your studies.
Right.
Have a good day. Merry Christmas.
Very true. And that is quite a pickup line, that Christmas is not your birthday, it's Jesus Christ's birthday. So if you're to enjoy, you enjoy with some bit of limit, considering also next term you'll be getting back to class.
That's true.
Thank you so much, Mwalimu, for coming through. We do appreciate your time as well.
Thank you so much.
We wish you all the best. But you didn't say at which school are you from?
I am from the Gracious Mary Complex. It's a private school, and it's a private school with a good reputation. So I'll urge the parents to visit us and see the kind of education we are offering. Welcome.
Right. Thank you so much, Mwalimu. We do appreciate your time. And definitely, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our show today. We had quite an exciting experience talking to Mwalimu here in relation to all the matters that are making headline inside the education sector. And you've understood whether if it is high time to introduce the corporal punishment, it's up to you. But different stakeholders are still weighing into this matter, and official communication might be communicated later on. Until tomorrow, same time, same place, have yourself a nice day. And on behalf of everyone who made this bulletin and program a success, coming to you live from Boss TV headquarters here in Mombasa County, we'd like to say thank you as well. Stay safe out of COVID-19, and don't forget as well, we do have the Omicron variant. You need to be vigilant to the highest point. Goodbye. Have yourself a nice day and enjoy the rest of your viewing.